Hey, let's get rid of some of that feedback in the background. Hey, it's Stokely from Sauce on Delay. I rarely ever speak on hair loss in women. It's not as prevalent. Hair loss in men is what it affects. Something to the effect of 80% of men by the age of 55 experience hair loss. Maybe not total hair loss, but male pattern baldness. There's another terminology for it. But there's products like Rogaine, or products like minoxidil and alpha tridol and dutasteride. All of those things are geared for assisting men with their hair restoration, and it's already been established that majority of men's hair loss is due to hormones. Specifically, the big culprit is the hormone DHT, which is basically a form of testosterone. And at the scalp or at the hair follicle, testosterone gets processed or turned into DHT, and it puts the hair in a dying phase. In its it ends the anagen, or telogen. It causes the hair to go into the telogen phase faster. You still have hairs, but they're like baby hairs, and matter of fact, even smaller than baby hairs. They go into the telogen phase, which is when the hair falls out. So similarly, women's hair loss, which I don't think has a good amount of research done yet, just like they don't really have many advances or research into dysfunction, reproductive dysfunction. I don't want to use another word. Reproductive dysfunction in women is not really researched. It doesn't have a lot of medicines or anything, just like you have Viagra and Cialis for men, there is not one developed for women, for a multitude of reasons, which I don't know or have a perspective on. But hormones are attributed, are blamed for male pattern baldness. And 80% of men face hair loss. The amount of women who face hair loss is not to the level of 80%. I don't know that exact number. Unfortunately, I don't know that exact number. So if I could guess, it may be 25%, no more than 30% of women face hair loss in their life, or thinning, mostly thinning, not hair loss. It's rare that women face hair loss. And I read an article that was in Forbes before, that came out after the Oscars, when there was discussion of alopecia as it pertained to Will Smith's wife, whose name escapes me right now. Jada Pinkett Smith, yeah. As it related to Jada Pinkett Smith, the alopecia was discussed in women. Now, they didn't really go too deep into it, and what they really zeroed in on is that alopecia hair loss affects black women more than women of other demographics due to hair care practices, whether it's tightly pulled hairstyles like braiding, or chemicals such as straighteners, or other different kind of hair treatments and stuff like that. And so they went through, and you can maybe go back to that episode where I talk about Jada Pinkett Smith, and I actually read excerpts from the Forbes article. I think it was either Forbes, it was Forbes or Fortune or Financial Times, one of those financial magazines. But there is also, aside from the tight hairstyles and the pulling and stuff like that, women do experience some hair thinning or hair loss. Maybe not to the level of men though, but it is also attributed to a hormone imbalance and a medical condition that they mainly blame for it is polycystic ovarian syndrome, or Pcos. Well, I call it Pcos. Pcos, polycystic ovarian syndrome. So, like the name insinuates, there's cysts in the ovaries, the factory where estrogen is produced. That's not the only place that is produced, from my understanding, because some women have their ovaries removed, and they either they have to take supplements, or they that's my understanding. I haven't done any research into it, but polycystic ovarian syndrome is one of the culprits that's blamed. And of course, almost every condition can almost be helped with an anti-inflammatory diet, which I hear a lot of people call a keto diet, which I don't really know what a keto diet is. I think a keto diet is fish and vegetables. I'm uninformed regarding this, but I think a keto diet is almost interchangeable with Mediterranean diet, where you have something like you have some vegetables, you have fish, you have olive oil, you have tomatoes, stuff like that. But they probably a low amount of carbohydrates probably in there, and a good amount of vegetables and fiber, a good amount of fish oils, because we know that fish have DHA and omega-3 fatty acids in them, and Mediterranean diet uses a lot of olive oil, which is a little better balanced when it comes to omega-3s, but olive oil isn't really a great source. My big thing that I'm encouraging nowadays is hemp seed oil, but hemp seed oil doesn't have a high smoke point, so it's not really good for cooking at high temperatures. We shouldn't really cook at high temperatures at all. Many of these pictures I see of keto diets aren't high temperature cooked foods. It's more sauteed. It's more of a sauteed type of meal. Even salmon is not something you really cook at a very high temperature. I like my food thoroughly cooked. But vegetables don't need a lot of vegetables, not at all. Vegetables don't even need a lot of heat at all. Sometimes you only heat the vegetables and you heat them with some oil so that the spices spread through them and the spices seep into them. But that's about it. You don't need heat to cook vegetables. You don't even need to cook the vegetables. You can eat them by themselves. But it's just to add some flavor to it. As Mr. Ace was telling me the other day when he said, his wife really prepares a lot of the meals, and when it comes to vegetables, they don't cook the vegetables. I said saute, but he didn't really say what they do, but they don't really cook the vegetables. So polycystic ovarian syndrome, an anti-inflammatory diet can definitely help with that. Of course, getting the levels of estrogen up, eating things like, in my opinion, flaxseed and wild yam, soybeans. There's so many other foods that are estrogen mimickers out here. I have a whole list of them actually. I can't remember the other ones, but flaxseed and what's the other one? Oh my goodness, there's another one that's like flaxseed. Everybody always talks about. Oh, it's not quinoa. It's oh my goodness. Anyhow, I can't remember it right now. It's something seed. Well, soy, flaxseed can't hurt. I can't remember the other ones. But there definitely are ways to try to supplement issues with low estrogen levels, or hormonal imbalance caused by polycystic ovarian syndrome, by modifying one's diet. And similarly with men's hair loss, lowering stress levels, that always helps, because cortisol, which is the stress hormone, like I said, it is a hormone, and hormones are major factors or major culprits when it comes to hair loss. So keeping stress levels low is always important. I'm going to tell you now, I just pulled up my Excel sheet. Oh, ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is good for estrogen. Fenugreek is another one. Let me see what else. I made some other notes here. Polycystic ovarian syndrome, it comes in 3 types: insulin resistant, inflammation related, and the 3rd type is unknown. So insulin resistant, so ginseng might help you in that case. Ginseng might help somebody with polycystic ovarian syndrome, because ginseng increases your ability to absorb and use insulin, lowering your sugar consumption, everything that you need to do regarding your diet to treat diabetes, for the most part. No fake sugars though. Don't take fake sugars because they damage your brain. Try to stay away from sugar at all if possible. Like I said, wild yam boosts estrogen. And when it comes to inflammation, just like I said, the keto diet is kind of an anti-inflammatory. So you need an anti-inflammatory diet. So, maybe some ginger, integrating some ginger, some pineapples, that might help. Turmeric, balancing the gut with yogurt, stuff like that. Taking the complex vitamins so that your food is processed well. So I mean, and lowering your, having a better balance of omega-3s and omega-6s. So even when I mentioned the flaxseed, that's beneficial in that it has omega-3 fatty acids, and or the hemp seed oil, it helps to bring up the omega-3 fatty acid levels, because it's very important to balance those two, which the balance of those also helps your brain, so it might help your stress ultimately. So yes, that's really about it. Polycystic ovarian syndrome has many other side effects other than just hair loss. It has mood-related side effects. It has weight-related side effects. It has emotional and depression-related side effects also. So it's very important to take care of your body. Be mindful of what you're eating. Be mindful of your thoughts, to lower your stress. So it's almost the same strategy regarding men's internal health or nutrition when it comes to hair loss. I mean, you're mostly gonna just stop it. Reversing it is almost reversing it is almost impossible, or it takes a longer time using holistic medicine. But if you use it in conjunction with, what they have for men is, actually they do prescribe Rogaine for women, but it's at a lower dose than the one that's used for men. And Rogaine for men only works in 33% of cases. Finasteride for men works in 75% of cases. But I don't know if they have, like I said, a lot of extensive research regarding women's hair loss isn't being done. In my opinion, because it doesn't affect women as much, so there isn't a market for it, so there isn't an economic driver to encourage researchers to develop these things. So all we really have these days is weaker versions of what they have for men, which is the minoxidil, the hair transplants, and maybe even SMP, which is I haven't discussed SMP. I want to talk about SMP because it's getting very popular. So SMP is when they basically tattoo your hairline, or they tattoo your scalp. It gives an impression that your hair is thicker. So that's another thing, but which I don't even consider that a treatment. That's really just totally cosmetic. But that's really it for polycystic ovarian syndrome. You can do your own research on it, but it's the same strategy with men. Reducing inflammation, reducing stress, except in the case of, and in the case of men, we want to actually increase the estrogen levels at the scalp, because that's how finasteride works. Finasteride, actually, if you go back to my finasteride episode, finasteride is used as chemical castration for men. So it negatively affects your testosterone levels and your testosterone production, and it's 75% successful in growing men's hair back. So estrogen is basically the thing that makes men's hair grow, at the scalp, really. But and in the case of women, it would appear that it's important to do that. I don't know if they're using finasteride to help women, but as far as I know and as far as I read and I recall, finasteride doesn't help women grow their hair. So it doesn't function, it doesn't operate in a woman's body the same way that it operates in a man's body. So right now, all they really have, from my knowledge, is Rogaine and transplantation. But I think you can try to cut it off at the pass by having an anti-inflammatory diet, incorporating some ginseng, incorporating the flaxseed, incorporating the fenugreek, incorporating the ashwagandha, which is a fruit, I believe, from somewhere in Africa, incorporating even turmeric, ginger, all these anti-inflammatory spices, all these Eastern spices. If you're interested in seeing the chart or this Excel sheet that I'm making, you can send me an email at info@sauceondelay. I didn't pronounce it sauce on delay because there's no way to put I think it's an umlaut above the E. So, yeah, it's a few things here, but if you go on websites like Healthline, you can find out more about polycystic ovarian syndrome. It causes a lot of different side effects: fatigue, weight gain. It's a terrible thing, and it's in my opinion based on a lot of environmental factors and dietary factors that negatively affect us all. So thank you for listening to my rant, my uninformed rant somewhat, and I look forward to saying something again. All right, thank you.